Shout out LOI crew.
Should be alright now, Aaron.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're up there, we're up and running now.
You can't hear the dog in the street.
So welcome to League of Ireland. We have the podcast here. Have Danjo Murray and John O'Murray alongside us here. Welcome lads, and we have Eloi Kachiga as well.
Evening lads, thanks very much for having me. Cheers for having us, lads.
It's a pleasure, and it's gonna be good to have your knowledge.
You're in a podcast with two LOI greats.
It's an awkward silence.
I was gonna say that.
And LOI John.
I was about to say, you're changing the definition of great there, Kachiga. Playing very fast and loose with that definition, my friend. I was gonna say 3 gobshites and a legend.
The 5 championships between the 4 of us.
4 of us, yeah. They're all with the cat. I'm proud of that achievement.
Oh, stop. So
what
what
was
we
your
got?
favourite championship, Kachiga? Mine was probably the second one. That's the one I'm most proud of.
Season 1 mine was.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, John, what about you?
Last season. They were all coming for him.
There you go, Pat. We're all proud of you, mate.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
So we got some reflective glory with that, all constructors.
That's it. We have to get the mini trophies out for all the boys, and we have to bring them out and have a few points in them.
And that's the participation medals for all of us.
Yeah.
The trophies will go to you and Slim because you're the only ones that won on that.
That's look, every little point matters.
The rest of us were just passengers.
But look, that was close. Every point counts. Remember with McLaren as well there last season. So
there's good crack that little run in last year. And this year's one's looking like it's gonna be crazy as well. Like 4 teams.
That's it. It's gonna be very close. But we'll start. Who will I start with? I'll start with Jono, since you're here a bit longer. So Jono, Jesus, we'll take you back. Who will you take? Mexico season 3, was it?
Yeah, that was the first reserve seat.
Yeah.
It was in with Farman and the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember I'd done a practice race with you that day. A couple of days before.
The Thursday night. Literally, I bought the game the weekend before. It was in a ranked lobby and just saw it. I think someone spun you out on the first lap and was like, that's the end of that chap. It's like 2 seconds later, just seeing you fly past everyone. I think he still ended up winning that 5-lapper. Then getting a random message like, "Here, you interested in joining the league?" What the fuck do you mean a league? I hadn't played anything online in about 4 years. Like the only reason I got the PlayStation was like Belle was pregnant with a baby and you could chuck Sky Go on it up in the room, so she didn't have to go downstairs. But like, it was literally F1 was on the deal. I think it was like 20 quid the week before, and alright, fuck it. I haven't played an F1 game in a while. I've literally been playing them back to the Mega Drive. That's how old the prick I am. And like from there, it's like, jeez, it's been a good crack.
Yeah, it's been great. It's like I remember at the start, it's like the difference you've progressed as well as a driver as well. So you joined, and did you have any expectations when you joined? There's just, I think it was halfway. I think we're past halfway through that season at the time. I think we're about around 6 or 7.
I think
probably 4.
I think there was 3 or 4 rounds left that season. But like, I didn't have any expectations. So you know yourself, like, especially if you played racing games for a while, you think I'm alright at this. and then you end up in a lobby with you, Sully, I think Gary, and a few others, and you're just there going,
Very
oh fuck him, like a second and a half slower than these guns, what the fuck's going on? It's like your ego takes a little bit of a bashing when you realise, oh shit, there's people quicker than me, miles quicker than me. But that's half the fun of it, is just trying to actually catch up and see how close you can get. Like, if we don't have the fastest lads in the land, we fucking damn well close to them.
Yeah, that's it. Like that. You're right there. Like I think we do. I think probably the last couple of seasons, I don't think we could have got any faster drivers in the tiers. I don't think that anyone would have bet us, but you would never know. But that's what ifs, coulda, shouldas. But they're not there to do it. They're not gonna take part. But as I said, so season 3, you're in there, and then I think when did you start getting good? I think where was there a streak? You starting the point streak? Yeah, I just
well, like that was the thing. I scored points in my first race, then crashed in Abu Dhabi as a sub. Like that's the only DNF I've had, and then like basically kept scoring points then until Mexico last season.
yeah,
They've only
like
non-scored 2 races, I think, in the 2 and a bit seasons.
yeah, like that's like mental. But like you joined there. So season 4, you had a few races under your belt, and take us through season 4. What way did you gonna pull up in next?
To be honest, like my goal before the start of the season for season 4 was get a podium, get a race win if you're lucky, and like that was it. I wasn't thinking anything else, and like obviously I'd said to all the lads, it's like, if I'm gonna get a podium, I'm gonna get one at Suzuka. And I think I qualified second behind Gary Drow in the mixed weather, and I'd fucking bottled another one earlier in the season with Austria. I'd lost me wing behind Kodge for Spurs. It got tapped in the back of China and sort of bottled it when Glenn had fresher tyres than me and had a penalty and just couldn't hold the gap to keep it. But like the one that really stung was Suzuka, because I was in second behind Gary. I'd made like a nice little first stint for myself, and then someone retired in the pits and the car came out and was still full and like smashed me front wing off, and like by the end of that race I didn't give a shit anyway. I still scored points and I was laughing my bollocks off like as soon as we start seeing the TikToks of the lads, the old wheel to wheel boys, when Ben and Vern had their moments.
Yeah.
Obviously later Lee Budge and Chameleon as well. You couldn't help but feel you couldn't care less. You were just chuckling your box off at them. So it was just that funny. Obviously then what was it, Singapore came up shortly afterwards and got the first the monkey off the back, got the first podium, happy as a pig and shit. They stayed on the slicks when everyone else was going onto the wet tires, or well, on the inters, and then they kept it together at the end of it. I think it was me, Garash, and I think Ryan ended up in third. Because he had a few penalties, but like that was a really nice one, especially because I'd hated Singapore in the older games.
That was a tough race. That was the one with the mixed conditions, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like it started spitting down, and Jeff was telling you different tyres every other lap.
Go in, stay out. Back in my head, that race he was.
Then they obviously picked up the win on the Bahrain race where Kichiga did some badger culling.
But you got your first pole position there in Bahrain, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, I was playing the P11 game until I saw the times, and it's like it's said to Farrell, like point splitter, privately. I was like, look, if this is the times, fuck this, I'm going out and doing another lap. If we need to pull out of it, pull out of it. Like, we've been setting better than that in practices, so we went out, I think it was 26-0. That ended up being power for it. Like, was chuckling away because like obviously the tier 4 race, the lads have been in the 25-8s and stuff, so we were just like going, Alright, yeah, that'll do me, because obviously that was the race that got rearranged like twice. We tried it twice on the night and then did it the week after as the season finale. Tier 3 tends to be the one that's cursed in dojo, so I think we've had more reruns than any other tier because of bad luck and other shit with the old PSN network.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously with that season, you're in triple figures. You finished on 101 points.
I think it was 6th in the championship or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're only 46 points off the leader as well, and I think you're the only man out of 3 people that season that only scored in every race, points in every race.
I think there was me, you, and I think there might have been, well, there was
Spoken
one
Aces.
other in one in tier 4. There would have been 2, but someone didn't do the last race.
Yeah, I think it was Zenit or something like that.
Yeah, that was who it was. If he'd ran the last race and scored points, he would have scored every point, like every race. I think someone else was like there till Australia and had their moment butchered. Like, in fairness, I got really lucky with Australia as well after having some shit luck in that race because Ben Ratcliffe crashed in the last corner.
Yeah, that's it, and you got 2 P10s, but obviously you got that P1 in Bahrain, and then you only realise then you're starting to become a solid tier 3 driver, like you're just placing yourself right there in tier 3. And were you happy with that season where you improved? And obviously you only just started the game only a couple of months, so you're on a massive increase.
That was the thing, it was just like getting closer to lads, and like I hadn't, until I did that race in Mexico, I hadn't done a 50% or ever. Like most of the time, if I was doing a career or something in the older games, I'd have just stuck to 5 or 12 laps max. I wouldn't have bothered with that sort of thing. It was just too much time. Like, I didn't have the attention span for it. I was just like, fuck this. Like, it was something to just do for a few minutes if you're bored out of your tits or there was nothing on telly. So like, actually making a sort of conceded effort or putting an hour or 2 in during the week, and you're seeing results. I think, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like a 28.5 was the first time trial I sent on to you, and like by that race in Bahrain it was like 3 seconds or something faster than it in time trial alone. So like that was.
Am I supposed to have these details when you're asking me these questions? Because I don't. Jono whipping out times from 2 years ago.
I didn't know what season you're talking about.
Probably knows what colour socks he's wearing that day.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, it was 14 degrees outside, but it felt colder, and the wind was blowing northeast. And I know that because I had the washing out. My red jocks were on the line. And,
no, Dan, it was a southeasterly wind because there was 2 dogs shagging at the crossroads.
There you go. Man. Yeah, what breed of dog were they, Jono?
One Labrador, one fucking Calico.
His attention to detail is second to none, lads.
Oh, he doesn't miss a trick. He's a human CTV, isn't he? He got a little, you know.
Dan used to. If Dan got to change my nickname in fucking the chat, he'd be calling me Yellow Eye Rain Man.
That's quality. That is brilliant. But obviously, you've improved so much, and then went to season 5. But we'll get back to you with season 5. But we'll get on to Danjo. Danjo, he joined. So Dan, what got you into League of Ireland? And obviously, I'd say your brother did. Obviously.
Yeah. Like a lot of things in me, like Jono snuck me in the back door. Jono always has a habit of just.
That sounded very wrong, man.
Settle yourselves down there. This is a family show. Behave yourselves, please. But yeah, I think Jono had been playing it. I think he'd been doing the league race with you guys for a little bit, and then I think it was season 4 China. Yous were short somebody in tier 3, and Jono said to me, "Here, look, well, if you're looking for something to do," and like everybody in the pandemic, I had a bit of time on my hands, so I said, "Hey, go on." I thought, like, I hadn't really played the game. I had bought the game, I think, just after Christmas or something like that, and I'd only played it a little bit. I'd never done league racing, never done that, and it showed, because in my first race it was tier 3 China. I was in as a replacement. It was the fact that you even let me back in was remarkable because I was worse than shite, like, and he just gave me a spot in tier 40, and that's it. Been coming back ever since.
That's it. You're right there, and obviously you went then to season 5. Pretty much you're a good bit in season 4 when that was like this. You're nearly exactly a season between you and your brother.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he'd been doing it a little while and kind of saying it to me and whatever, and like, I mean, even online, like doing kind of 5 lappers with just lunatics, just doing online stuff. I didn't really do it. I kind of bought the game and I'd done a little bit of career stuff or whatever, just trying to see if I liked it and all that. But the league racing, getting involved in LOI, is what's made me love the game. And Jono going on about it the way he does, with all his intricate details, and Jono loves the setups and all that, and I haven't got a clue, so I tend to just copy his setup straight away and be like, yeah, nice one, Jono, that works for me. Thanks, mate.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, got through season 4 just about, and then on to season 5. Season 5, the now legendary tier 5 season.
Yeah, the them tier 5 drivers, there's barely any of us there. Hopefully it'll be rewound in season 7, but yeah, and I think you went on a great scoring streak. Like, I'm looking at it here, right? Netherlands P9, Bahrain short P5, Spain P7, Mexico P10, Abu Dhabi P9. Then you had I'm not sure what you did in Belgium, but then you're in Azerbaijan, Canada P9. And then
I can tell you what he did in Belgium. Death taxes and no rouge.
Yeah. And then Bahrain.
There's a little thing about Eau Rouge and Radion that not many people know, and there's actually magnets in the wall there that attract your car to it.
The safety car can attest to that from last week's tier 3 race as well.
But yeah, tier 5 was good crack, like, because I feel like some of the people who are racing in tier 5, they'd wear helmets outside the card as well, if you get me. They're interesting individuals.
So we're pretty much saying sort of they have the helmet, the whole racing gear on, they'd be in the bed, and they'd be looking at the TV like
they had a race car bed. Do you know what I mean? Like your man out of The Simpsons, that full-grown adults with race car beds, like.
They probably full kit wankers in the race car bed.
Probably, man. Probably they probably had that stuff that you put on your mattress to make it waterproof. There was a few dodgy characters in that tier 5, but look, it was that, you know yourself, like when you're in those lower tiers, like it's like we don't have the pace to race at like, you know, tier 2, tier 1. Definitely don't have the pace for that. And then the challenge in the lower tiers is finding ways to race that you're not getting taken out every week, or you're not getting involved in the little stupid crashes and all that kind of stuff. And once you find your way around that, that's how you can build your pace. At least that's what I've started to find now, like.
Yeah, that's true, and I've noticed there, like at the start, like I think your driving's more smooth now and you're more controlled, and obviously you're like at the start, like your awareness just improves just naturally, and obviously, as you said there, not getting taken out, I 100% agree with you, like, because there's just safety car after safety car, and it's just out of your control, and it can change your strategy, you can win whenever you pit, and then it's so easy to get wing damage beside someone because they brake so early and you have different braking, but and then what was it? Did you have any ambitions last season? What was in tier 5? Just go out and race?
I think, like, even talking to Jono at the start, I was kind of saying, if I can score points in every race that I finish, if I can score points, I'll be happy. And then, you know, the aim was a podium, and I felt like I could have got a podium or even a race win in tier 5. It didn't happen, mostly my own stupidity or whatever. I got 2 pole positions in there though, and I just didn't do enough with them. Now, the first one I think was Spa, and I can't remember who it was, but they just fucking sent a torpedo up the inside of turn 1.
That was Iron Man.
The man, yeah. John O'Shea goes with his fucking Rain Man abilities again. Look at him. So, Yeah, and then I got a pole in France as well, and France then the best rain I've ever seen in my life in this game. And it was just, I came into the pits, came back out on mediums, I didn't know what was going on in the rain, brought out a safety car, limped back around, and still managed to pick up a few points in that race and whatever, like, but...
I had to buy a new headset after that race.
Yeah, that was...
I made you get angry at me for that, didn't I? You went full fucking Gunter Steiner on me and that, you did.
Yeah. It's not fuck smash my door in. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I remember that. I was in the party with you, yeah.
Like, what? You're on mediums? Ah, you fucking goucho. Boom.
And then Jono, you don't hear Jono. Yeah, and then he comes back. We're back in the game.
We're back in it. Just get close enough not to get lapped. It was a blue gunner that got lapped in that race and then ended up like that fucked his championship because he pitted when the safety car was there and he was too far and the lads lapped him. So he felt sick for the poor lad.
That's it, and obviously like talking about that, like knowledge there, what you said about blue gunner, like Danjo, you have Jono as your engineer pretty much. He'd be the main man. What's he like as an engineer? What do you and I know yous are some brothers, just yous are always want the best out of each other, but when things go wrong it's hilarious, but yous are always there on each other's back anyway.
Well, that's it, like, yeah, it's like most things in life with Jono, like, John, I mean, he's always looking out for me, and he's always trying to, you know, I'm the younger brother, so he's always trying to, and then sometimes I end up kind of babysitting him, but when it comes to this kind of stuff, when it comes to anything that involves statistics and whatnot, Jono's streets ahead of me, so yeah, there's times where I just want to ignore him, tell him to shut up because he's my brother and he's annoying me, but like in general when it comes to this stuff, he's streets ahead of me, like, so he's there telling me, you know, what lap I need to pit on, what my tyres need to be, you know, all that kind of stuff, and I'm just driving around hoping that I've got bubble wrap in the car and don't hit a wall, like, you know.
Yeah, that's true, and so obviously you did season 5 and then you don't like, for a lad who won, like, you're only a season behind, you're like it seems like you're just one season behind your brother. You're going up at the same rate, like an incline, but you're just a season behind, like. But talking now this season now, and you raced there today, like you're still in the hunt with a championship. I know it sounds mad to say that, but you're still there whereabouts. But
yeah, like I absolutely threw away a podium there tonight. But I mean, even like if you told me, even kind of we're only 4 races in, if you told me at the start of the season I'd already have one podium and I'd be competing for a couple more, like I'd have laughed at you. So it's got, like, I definitely feel I can get better at the game. I definitely feel like the whole notion of esports, the whole idea of this kind of like competitive kind of gaming or whatever is mad to me. It's just, the whole thing is absolutely bonkers, but I'm loving it at the same time. You know what I mean? And I know, like, you can't call, with the greatest respect to everyone in Tier 4, you can't call what we do esports, like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, what this league is doing, and some of the lads who are in the higher tiers and whatever, do you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't be started off knocking on the door for some of the more serious shit that goes on in the world of that sort of stuff. So it's great crack, and I think, yeah, look, I'll keep chipping away at it, and if I can finish top 5, really push myself, if I got into the top 4, I think, in the championship this year, I'd be absolutely delighted. Like,
yeah, that's it, like, and you're on that road, and it's just, as you say, just don't get any damage. Even probably next week with Monza, like, you're going to be running a low downforce and you'll be hitting the highest speeds in the game, but if you just stay out of that, people are going to be losing the car scary, and these things will happen. But I think you're doing the right approach, just staying clean, and that's all that matters.
That's it, man. If I can finish the race at Monza, I think I'll be happy with that, and I think it's one of those tracks that, again, you finish the race, you'll get points. So long as you're doing that, as long as you're picking up a few points every race, you know, that's going to leave you in a good position.
That's it. And I'll have a few more for you, and then I'll go back on to your brother. So, who's your biggest rival, Danjo? Who'd be the biggest rival in LOI? Who's your biggest rival?
I don't know if I'd even call him a rival, though, but myself and Wheelo have been kind of, not banging wheels in a bad way, but like we've been very close to each other kind of over the last sort of 2 seasons or whatever. And he's got the better of me. Like last season, he finished way ahead of me in the championship in the end. And there's been races where we're kind of neck and neck a little bit. And I remember Spain last season, particularly. There was a bit of wet weather there, and no wet weather wheelo. And he definitely got the better of me there and whatever. But yeah, I think myself and Wheelo have had kind of nice, clean racing, and it's been like I know if he's ahead of me or behind me, and we're close. Like there's never going to be anything dodgy. There's never going to be anything dirty.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was very lucky to get the podium ahead of him, kind of thing. So I feel as though as this season goes on, myself and him will try and catch up with our old chick Hicks there, and if we can make a little sandwich with him, then just annoy him the rest of the season, that'd be great crack for us.
That's it, because I had him on and he said yourself, and he said nice words about you and all, and you're fair as rival, and it's good to have rivals that you don't have many rivals that get along with each other, and you just get along great. Even that night, the day we were out for the Lions match, the first test, like you saw, like he's got on great, and it's good to see good sportsmanship.
That's it. Yeah, it is. It's great, and that's another thing about this league, is that kind of like you build friendships out of it, which is something I wasn't expecting. I was expecting this to be just like you go online once or twice a week, you do your race, and that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? But it's been great for that kind of just cracking camaraderie kind of thing. And that meet up there a while ago was brilliant. I'm still receiving counselling over Wheelo's elbows, so I won't lie. We'll leave that. I won't name it a party piece. A lot of other people see that in the flesh. It's hard stuff of nightmares, to be honest with you.
And I think he's delighted when he's showing people, because you could see the big smile in his face. Yeah, but that's true, and that's good to see. And obviously, what will it mean? Like, obviously next season, if there's a tier 4 or a tier 5, like there'll be definitely a tier 4. What will it mean to you to win a title?
I'd be deadly, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know, like, I keep telling myself it's only a computer game, but like, you can't help but get kind of sucked in and want to. Anybody who's in any way competitive with anything is sitting there and they're fuming if they're not doing well, and there's people who won't understand people being competitive about a computer game. There's people who will be like, you're an awful idiot or whatever, but you get sucked in, you get kind of, you know what I mean? And I think if they're like next season, definitely going to be back for next season as well. And even if there is a tier 5, I'm hoping I'll have the pace to kind of prove I can stay in tier 4, and if next season then improve another little bit, challenge for the championship, maybe get up to tier 3 after that. That kind of has to be the ambition or the goal. Just keep getting better and keep trying to improve it, And if the likes of Wheelo and Nando now, are LOI Newsom as his wingback, Nando Loris, I say, but if all of us are kind of progressing as well, like it'll be deadly, because it'll feel like there's a little core of us that we're tier 5 and we're all building, you know what I mean? And which is obviously an ambition for all of us.
That's it, and obviously, as you said, it's like a bit of a religion as well. The game, it's I've never came a game that's so realism. Like today in Zandvoort, we all raced in Zandvoort before they raced there, and we kind of knew ourselves that there's not going to be much overtakes, and you just knew. And I couldn't believe, like in real life, just seeing the track, how realism it is to the game, because that was the first time we've raced before a track has been out while they're racing, and I couldn't believe it. But yeah, that's what you're saying, like it's like a religion in a way, and obviously it's a good little story between yous, like tier 5, because you're just going to go one way and it's just going to go up the tiers, and that's just a huge achievement as well. Even tier 4,
I'm going down tiers.
But sure, even look at Cow's fastest lap today and the fastest lap in the race. I think they're pretty much the same 10th, like a 12-1. Like that's how fucking bananas it is.
Yeah. It's mental. That's something else. But well done, Dan, and then we'll get back to you as well.
Yeah, man.
Jono, so season 5, the points harvesting machine, I called it. You just harvest points. Jono comes out of the closet and like, what you say? But
they had more comebacks than the Beatles and Jesus combined.
so take.
Don't forget ABBA now as well. Don't forget ABBA now.
I don't have a bad word said about ABBA, lads, so just...
they're too busy with holograms. They're not really coming back. They're just in it for the money.
Go easy, you. Right, I'll write a letter, Benny and Bjorn. They'll come to your door and bat you now if you're not careful.
That was the thing. Like, the season 4 was like great crack, but it was also frustrating as hell because like we'd thrown away a lot of good results and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but overall, like, was happy enough with it. It was like pissed off that I like had to wait right to the end of the season to get a podium. I was hoping for a win in red, but like hopefully that'll come this year at some point.
Yeah, that's it.
It was a bit below what I would have wanted, but then again there was like 3 lads that like, I was confident were comfortably quicker than me, so any time around that, I mean, you had the likes of Dan Crowley and Real Johnny as well early on in the tier. Like obviously Dan missed I think the last 3 races or so about. Like you had Ryan who was like taking a step up, Gary Drow had moved up to tier 2 I think by that point. And fucking you had Joe and like obviously Cons is like to me as a tier 2 driver, like always will be sort of the same sort of vein. Decky Ferg held his own. Like you had so many like fucking really good drivers because we'd obviously did that little influx, and you had lads that were jumping up from the previous season's tier 4 and even later in the season tier 4 with Jamie Enroyd jumping up to tier 2. Like, and he's now he's big Jim Dan. Jamie Enroyd moved from tier 4 to tier 2.
I've never heard of him.
I think you do a quick hashtag rank. He's probably got more comments than the whole rest of us in the Discord.
I probably have him muted. That's why I have no idea who you're talking about.
That's probably the best idea for you, Dan.
I'm just throwing casual shade at the chat. I've no idea, to be honest with
you. I'll put it this way: if you ever have internet trouble and your green box goes again, give Jamie a call. He knows exactly what to do.
That sounds fucking dodgy, that does, but I'm only messing. He's fairly quick up there. Well done, Jamie. Good man. Fair play.
He'll tell you about his time trial shortly. He'll be comparing. It's like, what's this shit from talking about me?
Well, in fairness, he's about 1,000,000 times quicker than I am, but I was just looking to score shit for a bit of crack there, that's all. Sorry, go on, as you were.
That's it.
But nah, like, that was the thing, is like, for me last year, it was sort of, like, and Ben probably had the same feeling, like, there was a bunch of lads that, like, we were all pretty sure were quicker than us. Like, you still had, like, a fair amount of tier 3 old guard, like, obviously Budge before he took the break. Like, and then a few, like, myself, Kachiga, Mayo, like, was in and out last season as well, so, like, you sort of had, like, a bit of a change in the guard with what was up top, but it didn't work out too badly in the end. So consistency paid off, and, like, obviously the new teammate Adam Whelan was finding his feet from tier 4 as well. Like, the boys just were getting quicker and quicker, and we were sort of stagnating a bit. Even if we were finding time, they were finding more, so like, you can only keep doing so much and then hope for results, hope to be like that consistency is enough for you.
That's it. Like, you even finished higher that season as well, and obviously Mexico round you pretty much. Don't think beside anyone else and beside myself that had that amount of points streak like that you had. I know Colin B had a good sport. Like, if you had that points in Mexico, that would have been, I think, the second most.
Yeah, I would have been like 20, but heck, you know yourself, said the same thing. Like, one streak ends, you start a new one.
That's it. You have to start somewhere as well, build somewhere again, and you become a different driver and a different animal as well. But what was your expectations of that season? Just top 5, was it?
To be honest, I was just aiming for like top 5, top 6. Like, I didn't think it was going to be quicker than some of the boys coming down, because it like subbed once or twice in tier 2. and like seeing the pace of the lads in the first place, and like, obviously you keep, like I was saying about the season 4 Baran, you keep an eye for who was coming up. Like I always joke with you is that like I'm sort of like a fucking gatekeeper. If you're quicker than me, you're probably on the tier 2 shortly afterwards.
Yeah, that's true, and obviously you're becoming this season now. You're up there. Your provisional polls, your pole. You know what I mean? You're hanging up there with the lads, and you're a real force this season. You and A Whelan, obviously you're working very well, and Constructors Champion, I think you're the favourites for it anyway, and you're looking like it anyway. But sorry, no, A Whelan. Ben Ratcliffe's tier 2.
I know what he's doing.
Alright. Sorry, but how are you feeling about this season, Jono?
Look, to be honest, like you're saying, I think we're having 2 quick drivers, and like Adam's got way more consistent. Like he's less fucking incidents for himself, and like less spins and stuff, causing him to lose a few positions. I think that there's a good chance of us being thereabouts for the Constructors Championship. We haven't had a good run at that since me and Kachiga, I think, came second in season 4 for McLaren. In tier 3, if I remember right, we were either second or third. But like the Williams lot were fucking miles out, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I think that was the season Mayo Man became the Wuhan Warrior.
Yeah, I was basically.
Sorry, that season.
Because fucking Mayo hit the Asian sensation.
Yeah.
So I think he won everywhere in Asia except Singapore.
Yeah.
Gardash got that one. But nah, that was the thing for me. Like I just do my own thing, see how I'm going. Like most of the time we qualify in shit, and it's been my race pace that gets me out of trouble. So like, with the new game, I deliberately started a couple of weeks after everyone else. I just wasn't diving straight in. So I wanted to take a little bit of break and then go back at it fresh from there. And like, I think it sort of paid off that like we found a few setups that work for me and the way I drive, and obviously with the way the new game is with fuel and shit, you're having to readjust your driving style a bit. So
Yeah.
there's a few things that you're like trying out to try and find how to run as little fuel as possible, and especially like as far as I am at the moment, like I'm running medium traction and automatic gears, so like you're losing time in the braking zones, you're losing your ability to short shift and stuff like that, like, as efficiently to save fuel, or like running a higher gear when you're under a safety car, or burn fuel off under qualifying laps. Like Netherlands is one of those places where you want to be able to burn your fuel off before you start your quality laps, because you end up with, I think it's like 3.65 laps or something for the minimum. So shit like that, you're just trying to find those ways that you can get like those disadvantages back, like in time or whatever else, whether it's through a setup or through doing something different, that you can get away with those sort of things that people with no assist can't. But like it's all a balancing act. It's really, like, in fairness, that's one of the best things about the game, that like there is a lot of levelers that you can still be within a second or a second and a half of people if you're running, even if you're running assists, which is pretty fucking cool, because like if you just can't find like something that makes you comfortable without them, like you can still get the same level of enjoyment and you can still be competitive with it. Like that's all I've tried to do with it, is try and be competitive, try and score points, not wreck anyone's race, like race people cleanly and fairly, if you get what I mean.
That's true. You're right there, Jono. And obviously with the assist, do you think in the future you'd be taking any off, or see how things go? You just
like, that's the thing. It's like for everything that's like going on with COVID and stuff like that, like everyone's starting to get back to normal, so the hours that people are able to put in practice wise and all is going to change drastically, because like when people are back to work, you can't see them sitting on the fucking game for 4 or 5 hours that they might have had otherwise to go and nail time trial or go and do like practice races or practice qualities to their heart's content, because everyone's got to earn a living and all that shit. But like it's just a matter of having the time to put into it, and
That's it. And it's just a switch as well. It's a mental, like that's what came with me. But I'll explain when Colin Bay's doing. We were now podcasting myself when I switched, but I think it's just that mental switch. Then you get used to it. It's just whenever when.
That's the thing. It's also like the same as Anthem. Like you're almost going back to being a beginner when you do remove those sorts of things. Like we've played around with this game with no traction control, like and left the gears on automatic. But for me, like if you're gonna use no traction, you have to be using no gears, and my head doesn't work that way with the pad. My fingers don't move fast enough for me to get through. But like there's things that I can do still with the automatic gears that I can prick about with manually downshifting if I want to try and improve the brake, like engine braking or upshifting in the way. Because you can obviously still see your telemetry readouts and all that, so if you get to a certain point you can manually upshift if you want to do so, and the game's not going to switch you back because you were like at the right routes to do it. But like there's stuff like that like you almost have to like let your ego go to do those sort of things. But like when you're sort of like jumping in for a half an hour sprints or whatever, like for me it's fucking beyond frustrating if like I'm just losing every time I'm in the second or third gear corner, especially if I'm using that as me like practice time for whatever the week's race is. So like for me, I always like think if you're gonna make a move like that, you're better off almost doing it off season when you have time and you're not really focusing in on a particular race. But like everyone has a different approach, I'd say, to it.
Exactly, Jono, exactly. And where do you hope to finish this season? Where would you be happy?
To be honest, like I'm still happy to be top 5 or something, because like same again, you still have quick lads. You've like Adam, you've got Dan Crowley when he's free. You've got Knockouts that came back down from tier 2, and like, Knockouts is fast enough to like, race with just about anyone. Like, until when they score regular points, like, he's been very unlucky over the last season and a half. Like obviously Adams, like he was pretty much on the verge of a tier 2 drive if we hadn't had the season. If Joe had decided that he wasn't going to race before the season, he might have arguably ended up in one of them, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got like guys like Sully TM that came up from tier 4 like in his first season and was looking fast. You've got chaps like Toby Lerone who like subs in. You've got like the Fonz, who's probably the most improved driver over the last season and a half. Like like it's fucking razor close like with that tier. So you genuinely never know what is going to happen, and like I think a lot of it is going to sort of ebb and flow from track to track. Like with some lads, and I don't know if there's going to be someone that's going to be right up top every race. I think people are going to have bad races and some people are going to have exceptional races. So like, if I match what they did last year with more points, I'd be a happy bunny. But for me, the biggest thing is just to try and be more consistent, have less like spins and shit like that. Because ultimately that's like and especially get me qualifying better. Because if I qualify within the first like 2-3 rows, then like I'm usually one of the better ones on the harder tyres when we get into the middle of a stint.
Yeah. I get you 100%. And obviously, what would it mean to you if you won a tier 3 championship, Jono? What would it mean to you? And who's your biggest rival as well?
I don't know. Genuinely, I don't think I'd even know until I did it. Because it's one of those things that like
sometimes he doesn't have the celebration already planned. The jocks would be off and he'd be whipping them around his head, shouting at the missus, "I did it, baby! I did it!"
I'm not telling you, like I would get fucked. No, genuinely, like it's one of those that like you sort of like. I don't think until you actually achieve it that you fathom it. It's sort of like when you're a kid and you're playing football for the first time and you think about scoring a goal. Like you don't know how that feels to you until you actually do it. That like I've never looked at things as like this is how I'm gonna feel because I think that takes away from it. So like, it's one of those. Hopefully I'll find out soon. But,
That's it.
like,
That's it.
I don't. Like, rival wise, I don't really like think any of the lads as rivals. There's no point in like focusing in on one lad. Like we always sort of think, look, job number one's be the quicker the two teammates. Like if you like win that little inter-team battle over the season, that's cool. And then like the table tells all outside of that, you know. Like so you've got 19 rivals as far as I'm concerned, not just the one, but you can only like focus in on getting the best results you can every race. So like the rival's always the fucker in front of you, really.
That's it. That's it. That's a nice approach to it. Anyway, you know, that's a good one, and I wish you all the best as well with the season as well. And it's, what would you rather do, engineering or racing?
I prefer racing, but I enjoy like, breaking down races anyway. Like Dan will tell you, like he's had enough of me over the years looking at anything from F1's time screens to IndyCar to NASCAR, where we're just plugging away and like making a few bob on the sides.
Lads, he's insufferable. Like
Right,
be a Sunday evening, John will be texting me asking me watching the NASCAR. I'll be like, no, I haven't turned it on. And he'll be sitting there and he'll have a weather screen watching what weather is coming towards the track. He'll have timing screens open, he'll have the race open. The man is analysing 6 different things for the one race, and meanwhile I can't even find the Jesus channel it's on. Like.
yeah, he's good. I had him as my engineer in last season, and he was there for all my races pretty much. And the lad just gives in such good information, and then once you ask him one thing, he gets on it straight away and lets you know. And actually, last season he gave me confidence, more even confidence than I actually. I'm confident myself, but he just builds in the confidence straight in at the start of the race, which you like, and which is good for your mindset as well, because you believe in yourself when someone like Jono, with all the information he has, he's rarely wrong. So that's what I have to say about you, Jono. We're good with that.
Cheers, Arse, appreciate it.
And so I think that's what to say with the LOI career. And the question for both of you is, where do you hope you go in the future with it, and where do you see the league going with the future? Who wants to answer first?
You want to go first there, John?
He already has the answer and all already.
Nah, not really. Like, to be honest with you, like, as far as like what Dan was saying, it's a strange thing when you come into this, because like obviously me and Dan would be two of the older drivers. Like Dan's closer to the age group with some of the boys. I think he's like 2 years older than Gary. Like I'd be the same age, I think, as Budge and a few of the older boys, like Fawns and stuff. But like it's a strange little thing that, like, I think this league is the only way a lot of us would ever have interacted. Like, there's no chance that we'd ever talk to Ben, yourself, Paddy, or anyone like else in the league if it wasn't for the league. Like, the same way that, like, it gives you, it does give you something to like focus on outside in like your normal life and the fucking train of a Monday to Friday or whatever. You might be working or not working or in college or whatever the hell, or in some of the lads' cases they might be still in school getting ready for our leaving cert or junior cert or whatever.
Stay in school, kids.
Yeah, don't do what we did.
Don't go learn this.
Yeah. Did wreck your life. It's like, don't do that, was just satirical. Nah, like that's the thing. It's like that element of LOI has always been something that like really enjoy it, and like it's like obviously with Danny Max pod back in the day, like you heard from some of the lads there.
What?
Who's that?
We heard from some of the lads like how it's helped them mentally and how it's helped them get through the fucking pandemic and stuff like that. And like that's one of the biggest things for me. And like even when we all met up, like seeing what was it, fucking 20 odd.
Voice of a face as well, like.
Yeah,
You all put a voice. To the
You'd what?
face to the voice.
You 20 odd lads that like for the most part would have never met in any other walk of life. Like obviously the few of you are friends offline, and that was part of how this league started. But like you would have never talked to those people. Like I'm not on any F1 forum or any of that shit. Like I couldn't fucking stand that for the life of me. But like this is different. It's like there's a bit of banter, there's a bit of fucking everything. There's also lads that like genuinely put the fucking arm around the shoulder, and like if you were having a shit week or anything, that you can actually go here, lads. I'm not right at the moment or whatever. And each one of those boys, and that like any growth with the league, you always want to keep that sort of community feeling to it. So I think that's more like as important as what happens on the fucking racetrack, really.
That's it.
I think I'd agree with a lot of what John was said there. I think there's something brilliant about this league in that, and the pandemic probably helped it, I suppose. And I know I came into it much later than a lot of people, but there's something brilliant about, even in the pandemic, everyone was alone, but this we were doing together. Do you know what I mean? Like this was bringing people together to do something that gave them something that, like, if they weren't seeing their mates. So, some of us, like, I mean, I went months without seeing my parents and that kind of thing, but being able to do this gave me something to do. And you know, like, it's one of those. It's not probably what your intention ever was setting the league up, Paddy, but at the same time, it's one of those beautiful little coincidences or beautiful little knock-on effects that it's, you know, and it's now grown. And I think we had over 100 people in it when you had the 5 tiers. You know, you're now over 80 people in it, even with lads returning to work and all that kind of thing. So it's amazing what this league has done in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I mean, like, massive credit has to go to you and then the lads who do all the admin stuff with the Discord and all that kind of stuff. Like, and honestly, I think the league itself could keep growing, and it would be brilliant. But that sort of little community vibe, that kind of, like, I know we all give each other a bit of slagging and whatnot, and Kachiga's normally at the root cause of most of the bullshit that goes on. Yeah, you know, but I think behind it all, and ultimately it's all a bit of crack, and I'd say there's a lot of lads who are really, really thankful that they've been. I know I have been extremely thankful that I got involved in it, and that, you know, it's given me something to do on, you know, a Thursday night or a Sunday night or a Wednesday night, whatever night it was that I was on in the other seasons, that kind of thing. Look, if there's lads then who use this and they get really good at these things, and like I said, like, this sent me down a rabbit hole of reading about esports, learning about esports and kind of competitive gaming. And I mean, like I'm in my 30s, so for me it's a strange concept. But like John said, there's lads there that are still in school, and for them, like, as mental as this sounds, there's a genuine pathway to something in. May not be competitive gaming, but, you know, there's a whole industry around this sort of stuff. And if this gives them a little bit of an insight, or a little bit of a kind of, geez, you know what, I really enjoy that, maybe that's something I want to look at. And when they're filling in their CAOs, or when they're looking at career paths and all that, who knows where this could bring them. And I think there's just unlimited potential for people to get involved in this. And I doubt it was ever in the design of what you were trying to do, but I think that's how far it could branch and how far it could spiral. And it's something deadly about that, you know.
Yeah, cheers. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just, it's mad how it can happen. I didn't even thought myself it would be this big, and probably Kachiga as well. But like, I probably, in my own pod, when someone's interview, I'll probably open up a bit more, and there's a lot more things that are meant to change with the league that would have shocked you. And but I'll leave that to another day. But it's about use. But yeah, it just goes to show you anything. It's just, you can't really predict these things as well, don't you know? Like 2 years ago, you wouldn't have been like, or a year ago, Well, yous are here near a year now. It used to be over. You've been about a year now, John. I'll be close to a year now. You wouldn't think like you'd be in a league and we're going out and having a few drinks, a good few of us. Like it's mental to think.
That's the thing. It's like it's crazy to think. That's like I think the first time we ever got in a party with you was just after Christmas, or just before Christmas. So like that's 9.5, 10 months ago. Like I doubt any of us like ever thought, you would genuinely be calling the boys out of the league friends or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like, the thing that's like sort of crazy about it. No other walk of life. It's not for this league. Like, wouldn't know most people in it existed. You know.
The mad thing about that as well, though, John, is and kind of like pulling back the curtain a little bit and whatnot. But like, we're all from within sort of 15 minutes of each other. We all grew up within 15 minutes of each other.
They went to the same school as us. Like, it was about 10 years after I'd gone the fuck out of it.
That's an out, lad. That's what I say.
I think my time in that school overlapped for a year or so with Ben when he was in that school. Do you know what I mean? I played football with Slater's brother when we were much younger and that kind of thing. And never would have known any of that and all, but it's just mad how...
But even that fucking John and Farrell live in the same town as well, like.
Yeah, like 5 minutes down the road, well, 5 seconds down the road.
You know, it's mad, like, and again, none of the connections through this, even with all that kind of stuff, and like, you know, the possibility of overlapping one thing and the other, like, this league and this game being is allowed, you know, lads who grew up within 15 minutes and whatever of each other. Never would have bumped into each other, never would have spoke a word to each other to suddenly connect and, you know, have a bit of crack and kind of take the piss out of each other in a great way and form friendships.
That's it.
Hold on, was Mark playing with the Brack when you played for Belgium, Dan?
No, me and Mark would have played in Joey's together.
Or
I don't think Mark came to the Brack when I went to the Brack.
Yeah, yous were at a different time, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm not too sure about that. Well, I remember you was telling me as did. But that's just mental. Like, that's my older brother and Dan Joe played it, and then there's us. And to step in, like, and had a few points, and there we are, like, talking to each other fucking once a week in a party.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's mad, you know what I mean? But yeah, loving every minute. It's great crack every week.
That's it. And I'm loving having you here, and I'm loving, like, when you think about it, like, I'm friends with Kachiga there about what 15 years now. Then I met Connell there 2 years, and then it's Sully, then it's Farrell, then it's Gary, and then now it's like Hughes pretty much, and then Jack Harrison's like talk to Tommy, Owen, all the lads. Who else? Just can't even.
At this point, we've had about 15 or 16 people in the party.
Yeah. Like
called me, Saucy, Dan O.M.
Yeah, Saucy and Dan O.M. on it as well. Like it's mental to think, and it's delighted to see is all improving and all as well, because that's what I deep down want. Obviously, is to do as well as do good, because as I say, Andrew, like racing there, you want to do well. You don't want to finish last every week.
That's it, man. That's it.
But I'll move on. That's the racing. But how? Now this is I'm very interested, because they're older than myself, and he's an hour before me. But what made you start watching F1? And what? I'll start with Jono, and then I'll go to Dander. What made you start watching it?
He's gonna say me.
Yeah, that's why I asked you first.
Don't give yourself so much credit, John.
Genuinely, like my first dalliance or whatever you want to call it with F1 was like I got you know the way, like there used to be video shops and everything. Like there used to be a shop on Ballybrack Village, Computer City, that you could rent games off, and I got obsessed with this Ayrton Senna and Monaco Grand Prix. Yo, I think we must have rented it out about 10 times. Them lads must have been laughing their way to the bank, because the game was only about 15 quid back in the day. And so it was €2 for a fucking 2 nights rental.
2 punt, John, 2 punt.
Ah, yeah, sorry.
Show your age, boy, show your age.
But like that was his ears. Like you were just saying that name Senna, and you're going, oh, what the fuck's that? Because it's not like really F1 was a huge thing in the papers in Ireland. Like, and around that time, Jordan had just started, so like interest in F1 was growing over here. Like started randomly just catching races on BBC. Like, and you know, like at that point I was like 7, 8, so like hadn't a fucking notion about anything. Like you're just going, oh, I like the colour of that car, you know. Like, there's that Senna chap, Jays. He looks good. But like by 93, 94, I was practically watching every race. Like 94, I got bit into it. Like it was like on the edge of me fucking seat every week. Like well, every other week. Running it, like we had this shitty Mitsubishi telly, and Dan will tell you, like you could if you moved the aerial in the right way, you could get BBC on it. So like we used to like have the aerial out, blue tacked it onto the curtains and shit. Our man would come up looking at it and go, what the fuck are you two idiots doing? You know, that sort of thing.
Jono's making it sound like the fucking 1940s. This the 1990s, like John. Like
yeah, 1990s in the council estate in Ballybrack and the tree story.
Exactly, yeah, man. Houses that were made of just cement and lead. Like there was no nothing getting through those walls. You know what I mean? Like,
but like that was like when it wouldn't work, like especially with the like flyaway races like South Japan, like Austria or Australia even, I'd leg it downstairs during the night to watch them. Like we had to go, like me and Dan were on the third floor, like parents were right below us, so you had to scoot down the stairs, fucking hop over them. So like we'd worked out how to come down the banisters and climb so you didn't have the creaky steps go. So
Jono had worked that out. I at this point was just interested in sleeping. I hadn't got into it the way he had.
But like that was like watching like Hill and fucking Schumacher go at it, and like at that point like Hill had been like the chap that had sort of caught me attention, because like in '93 the Williams had the Sega sponsorship, so on the side of the car you had Sonic's fucking boots and stupid things like that, and you're just like going, oh, that's Daily Sonic, yeah. And obviously when Senna died, Hill was chasing down Schumacher. It wasn't until Schumacher moved to Ferrari that like I was getting older and understanding, oh shit, like that chap's special in the good way, not the way Dan was described in Tier 5. And like just snowballed from there. Like I think Dan started getting more interested in '96, and then like '97, like he was full on in the Villeneuve camp. Boys, screaming on Schumacher. I think it was just out of spite that he liked Villeneuve.
I was gonna say half the reason was so my whole thing with F1, it was basically John was watching it, so we only had to watch on telly, so if he was watching I had to watch it kind of thing. And I remember Adelaide '95 and the Schumacher Hill incident.
That was '94.
Was it '94? Was it? Sorry.
Yeah, in '95 Hill won by 2 laps or something like that.
Yeah, sorry. Well, in '94, and then because of that, then I just didn't like Schumacher. And then when I seen Jono cheering Schumacher on, kind of as I started watching it more, I was like, well, I'm obviously going to take the opposing view to Jono and just cheer on whoever Jono doesn't like, or whoever Jono's racer is against, kind of thing. So, I mean, it wasn't that I was particularly into Jack Villeneuve, or I wasn't, but I mean, he was beating Schumacher, which is all that mattered to me, because it meant I felt like I was beating Jono. So every race I'd be like, yeah, Villeneuve's my boy, that's it, you know what I mean? And then Schumacher tried a little stunty. It was Jerez in '97, wasn't it?
Yeah, with the best corner name in the world, Dry Sack.
Yeah.
John, I'm so happy with that.
I'm a bull, you know.
That's only when he's got the deodorant.
That fucking English t-shirt he loves to wear.
But this podcast gets sponsored by Manscaped, lads. That was a perfect little bit there.
Get your ball deodorant, lads. Hashtag
that's
PPP, Big Hats Pod.
Yeah, that was it. It was kind of that late '90s then I started getting into it, and then I never. The only thing I'll say is though, I'd take a opposing view to Jono on Schumacher just cause, like, but then by the time kind of Schumacher and Ferrari had really started, like I remember in '99 when Schumacher broke his leg at Silverstone, I was delighted because Eddie Irvine then had a chance to win the championship, and I was in that kind of like, he's Irish, he's in a car that could win, fucking deadly. Jono was going mad because I thought somebody winning a championship with Ferrari at what was it, like 20 something years, Jono?
It would have been 20 years, like at that point.
Yeah, so I thought somebody doing after Schumacher's hard work to build Ferrari up with Ross Brawn and everything else, and I was loving it. And then obviously Hakkinen, two-time world champion and all that, so it didn't work out. But
In fairness, the only thing that we was delighted about that whole scenario was that Mika Salo got a fucking savage car to race in. So
yeah, he replaced him, didn't he?
You know the way, like you find drivers that are in absolute muck cars that you got. I'd love to see him in a proper car. And like Salo was one of those for me, like because by that point, like I always loved Tyrrell, just because one of the first cars I remember was like the 90 and 91 Tyrrell with the fucking mad front of the Claude Major wing. It was like one of the best looking cars I've ever seen. But like when Salo like got into Tyrrell in '95 and '96, it was obviously like going, oh, that chap, like he looks fucking fast, and like you start reading stuff, and that was the only way you could find it. Like, there's not really any internet. Like Jesus Christ, you'd be lucky if you got pixelated tits in 1999. Like so, like your only option to find out about driving stuff was like stuff like Autosport or finding all these.
Pixelated tits sounds like a dodgy STI, doesn't it? What's wrong with our missus? Oh, she's got the pixelated tits, lads.
I found that a category on PH.
That's it. Probably the one that Connell has in his internet history.
So that was intriguing, and obviously, what, like, as a fan, what was the early 2000s like with Schumacher dominating? What was like watching that weekend?
Like like that whole period of Schumacher, like there's only really 2 seasons that he walked it. Like 2002 and 2004 were the ones that he just blew everyone away. But like if you think about it, 2000 went to the second last race of the season. If it wasn't for him having an absolute stonker of a fucking lap, like when Hakkinen went into the pits and it was like starting to spit rain, Warts spun in the last corner and stuff, like there's no way that he would have done like what he done. Like he would have had to go to Malaysia, and like that's not a walkaway championship. 2001, like the Williams BMWs were starting to get quicker. McLaren were still decent. Like Hakkinen was going off the boil, and Coulthard had the plane crash, if I remember right, that year. Like then 2003, like Ferrari were on the back foot because the rule change for the fuel. Like in qualifying, Ferrari had designed their car around the rules from the previous year. So like I think it was like the 3rd or 4th race of the season before Schumacher actually even won one. Like, and him and Kimi went down to the wire, and Kimi was using a fucking year-old car. Like, obviously 2004, I think he won the first 12 races of the season that he finished in, and then like 2005 like was the end of it because the new rule came in with the one set of tires in the race only to try and stop Ferrari and Bridgestone, and evidently that worked. Then that rule got chucked out for 2006, and Alonso had enough in the bag with Schumacher having the engine failure in Suzuka to hold the championship. Like so, like, if like that era that people like talk about Schumacher dominating, like it's nowhere nothing like what Mercedes have had in the last 5 years, say, or 6 years. Like it was very much like the 2 years where they had incredible cars, but
yeah,
like, they were getting ranked close in the other.
I think
years. Like there was 3 or 4 teams that could win a race at any one time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think a key difference when people kind of talk about that Schumacher Ferrari era and then they try and compare it with what we're seeing with Mercedes these days is that I genuinely believe you could put almost any driver in that Mercedes and they'd have a chance to win the championship. were
Say
seasons.
that, but you have Bottas in there as well. Like,
Yeah, I said drivers, Ben. In fairness, I did say drivers.
Not Dormats.
Like with Schumacher, I don't think you could have put anyone into that Ferrari and they would have got what Schumacher got out of it. Like, you know what I mean? And that to me is a key difference in it. And that's when people talk about like the younger lads were, you know, like Hamilton's to go, and he might set these records and everything else. But I mean, like Mercedes have done everything they can to make sure. Like, I mean, they put Bottas in there, who is, let's be honest, an absolute fucking dogo of a driver. Like, I mean, he's Rosberg beat Hamilton in the same car. I believe Russell will beat Hamilton if they're in the same car. You know, I think any of the younger, I think if you put Charles Leclerc in the same driver with Hamilton, he'd beat him. Like, Hamilton's good, but he's not as good as Schumacher, and I think that's one of the key differences, what John was talking about there, that he dragged that Ferrari to some of those championships.
Yeah, and plus he, well, I like yous have yous witnessed that, like we didn't witness it. Like, I only seen the 2006 when Alonso won, and obviously with Jono, with that year he fucking announced retirement in Monza, but like it went down to the last race, and then he even had engine issue. Like, he had a problem in Suzuka or something. I think went close.
Yeah, like he was leading the race with Alonso right behind him when he had the engine failure. And that, like, although it didn't end the championship that day, it was as good as in, because he would have lost it on countback. Ultimately, unless I think Alonso had to finish completely out of the points anyway as well. Like, but I think he would have ended up losing on countback, if I remember right. But like, that's one of the things, like, in that day with Schumacher, was sort of something that set him apart from like anyone that you'd see that's like that, like, got that reputation as just a ruthless bastard. He went and shaked every member of that Ferrari team's hand. Like, after it, like the dream was essentially over. Like, he knew that, like, that's a wrap. Like, I don't get another chance at this. Championships was over. But, like, to a man, he went and shook every mechanic's hand, like, and said thank you. Like, in that kind of moment, like, you could understand someone fucking throwing the helmet around, going ape shit, like wanting to smash the yoke in. Like, we've seen enough drivers have their car break down and start kicking the fucking shit out of it, you know, like, or like the Luca Badors and Nürburgring having, like, crying, or even Hakkinen in '99 when he spun in Monza. Like, he's in the trees with the helicopter above him, and, like, having a, like, moment for himself. Like, but like, that was the class of the guy, and it sort of pains me that, like, two of the most, like, interesting in motorsport are, like, for want of a better term, like, fucking not, like, are with us but not with us. Like, him and Zanardi are two of the most interesting, like subjects of people. Like, it's not just talent, it's like pure fucking drive and will to do things. Like, anyone that's familiar with Zanardi's story, like, the chap is, like, an incredible inspiration. There should be fucking movies about the guy. Like, it's a miracle he's still alive, alive before his most recent like, accident. Like, the chap, like, nearly died at Eau Rouge. Then, like, he's one of the few people on the planet that's had, like, 2 femoral arteries severed and survived. Like, when he had this crash at the Lausitzring, like, within 3 months, like, he was back up on prosthetics and showing up on an award show to take a Lifetime Achievement Award. And then, like, decides, fuck this, I'm gonna get some hand controls on the car and I'm gonna go racing the Touring Car Championship, and wins a few races there. Then, like, goes off, does a, like, little handbike race for the New York Marathon, comes, like, 3rd or 2nd in his first ever race, like, with all little practice. Goes on and wins 2 different Olympics. He wins golds at, like, different hand cycling races. Like, that man's, like, anyone that, like, is sort of I'm giving up, like, fucking look at what that guy's done. Like, that, like, that's the kind of think that's like incredible. And, like the same way with Schumacher. Like, Schumacher doesn't come from a rich family or anything. Like his parents were like just working class souths. Like he got very lucky that he got involved with Willie Weber early on, and a couple of other people that like managed to move him through the German motorsport scene. And like obviously it's like his hard work and his like endeavour. He wasn't the fastest dude in the world. Never. Like that wasn't like he was never the fastest junior. Like Jesus, like for years the joke was that Frentzen was the faster the Mercedes juniors when it was him when like Schumi and Wendlinger. And like all of the effort and all the like, training that guy did to just get better and to like bridge that gap. Like in all the lessons he learned from sports cars that like he then ended up seeing on the track. But like that's the pity that like that skiing accident sort of robbed that from us, because there's so many interesting things that you could probably hear from that guy that you're only going to ever hear from third parties, and I think it's sort of a shame. But like that's the cruelty of life sometimes.
That's it. It can bite you back as well. And obviously, you've been to races and all now, going up a bit closer to modern time. Your first race was 09, wasn't it? You went.
Yeah, we went to Monza. We were like on the back of the old potential of Schumacher racing, before they found a crack in his neck from the bike crashes. Like that's still like one of the funnier things with it, like the chat. That's how competitive he was when like he'd finished up with F1, that he still needed that rush of racing, and like had initially just done tests and stuff like that, and then was trying to race under a fake name, like doing the old Kimi Snowmobile with the James Hunt and the fucking gorilla suit. But like they basically said, nah, for insurance you have to put your real name. So like then the story got out that obviously he was trying to race on the national level like in a superbike, but he'd had a couple of falls and he cracked his neck and did a few tests at Ferrano, I think it was like 2 seconds off the pace, and they were going, something's not right here, because like a year ago you were as fast or faster, so like something's not right. So went and checked his neck, and that was it. He was struggling to do 10 laps in the car, I think it was at the time that they were saying.
Yeah, that's it. And they're different cars then. It was the first of the pretty much the new regulations that year, wasn't it?
That was the first ones with the battery, like the ERS.
Yeah.
And obviously Ferrari's car that year was an absolute bucket of shit. So it's probably for the best that he didn't actually race it, because like the only time that they had a win all season was with Kimi, and that was purely because the Force India didn't have Merck's ERS package. Like, he got lucky that he had the battery power to go and like outsling Fisichella on the way to Lake Holmes, and just drove away from it from there. But like obviously we went to Monza, that was savage crack, like walking under the banking, and we had a bunch of crazy Dutch fans. Like there was no Dutch driver in the field, I think, that season. Like bunch of the lads just in the same standards ripping the piss out of McLaren fans all day. So we couldn't stop like chuckling, and then we come to race. Hamilton lost on the last lap or the second last lap, and the place just erupted. Like never seen anything like it in my life. Like we've been to championship MMA fights, like the fucking height of the McGregor era, and never seen a reaction like that.
A roar like that, yeah.
Like it's something else. Like one of the great things with Monza is like the general admission lets you pretty much walk around anywhere within the circus limits. And like me and him were standing on the inside of the parabolic on the Friday afternoon. Like we just literally chucked our bags in the hotel and fucking raced out to the circuit, like getting on the train, not knowing where we're going, hopping on the free bus and all, almost getting lost on our way. But like,
I can tell you this with safely though, lads, Milan is a shithole.
Oh yeah, and the McDonald's give you cold food, lads. It's not worth it.
If you're going to Monza, just brace yourself. Milan is a shithole.
Yeah. But like that's it. Like walking under the bank and being on the inside of Parabolica when cars are like slowing down from 210, 215 those days. and you're just like going, fucking hell. Like, you could literally spit and hit the car, like you're that close on the inside.
And the roar of the V8 as well.
Yeah, all your ears took a fucking bashing and those things, like at full beam.
The noise is something that it hits you, like even as you're kind of, like John said, like we literally trucked our bags to the hotel and then fucking basically pegged it from Milan out to Monza to try and get everything sorted so we could get there for to catch practice and whatever. And as you're coming kind of up to, you're going through the park and you're getting close to the track, the noise, it just hits you, like, and yeah, the noise of those cars was something that was absolutely unreal. Like, it's never forget that, never, because it just stays with you, like, and it's kind of reverberating around kind of the old track, and it's reverberating around this park, and you're just you know you're going to see it in a minute. Like, seeing an F1 car at a full pelt is incredible. Like, it's bonkers. I never thought it would kind of. I never thought I'd look at it and go, holy fucking shit, kind of thing. But you don't realise how fast it is until you see it in the flesh, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The noise that comes from that thing is just amazing.
And obviously, you went to 3, was it? 3 of them when we went?
Yeah, we've been to Monza, we've been to Spa, and we've been to Monaco.
Which was the more electric, with the cars? Like, what really got you? And which was the best experience of going as well? Like,
it's matter for me. I think I loved Monaco the most, but I think if I was going to a Grand Prix again, I'd go to Spa again. If I was to go to one of the 3 again, I love Monaco because
I'm going to Spa next year, whether I'm going on my own or not. That's where I'm going.
Spa is. I love Spa for so many reasons, like, but I think with Monaco, just because of the way Monaco is, you're so close to the track. You can see the guys working in the cockpit at some places. Like, you can see how hard they're having to work, and you're getting to see F1 cars go at a slower pace. You're really close. You're getting to see it in more detail in front of you. You know what I mean? So that whole thing about the speed you're seeing them at Monza, you're not getting that at Monaco, but you're getting a completely different experience. And if you're talking about sound, and if you're, you know, if engine noises are something that you're into, and I know people who are into motorsport love that kind of stuff, Monaco is a place to go, because the sound just reverberates off every fucking building in the place.
You can see and hear how hard they're working.
It's incredible. Like, so I mean, you get off the train, and as you're walking through Monte Carlo to get to your part of the track, this sound is just bouncing off buildings, and it's just you can feel it vibrating through you. Like, it's mad. Like, it's absolutely mad. But in terms of just what track to go to, I'd go to Spa every season. Absolutely amazing. The setup there is just incredible. Like, it's just, you know, middle of a forest, middle of the Ardennes forest, and just absolutely bonkers. And the fans that go there know what they're there for, and just, it's an amazing atmosphere. The whole thing, absolutely just loved Spa for that.
Like, we jumped off the coach, booked it with, I think it was the travel department or something, but like, we had a transfer to the track every day, and like, the coach park is like 10 seconds from Eau Rouge, so like, you're literally walking through the turnstiles and you're on the like inside of the run to Eau Rouge and Radion, like the little fan village with all the merch and all that sort of things there. So like, you're like walking in and you just look left and you can see everything going up. I think I sent you the picture, Paddy.
Yeah.
With BMW is going up our, and like, you're just going like, holy shit, because like there's nothing quite like that view to understand how much of a rise it is. Like, because it doesn't, like, I know they say it all the time, it doesn't really get captured on TV. Like, with Spa, like, me and Dan were down at La Source for the Saturday and Sunday, like, so we were loving that as well, because every race there's a bit of carnage, a bit of wheel banging, and people are always looking to try and make a sneaky move there. But you also, like, because of that, you get that whole run from the first corner that you can see them and they just disappear in that first little dip and swing right. But like Dan was saying, Monaco was something completely different. Like, we were there for like the whole week, we ended up like we didn't go to the F2 on the Friday. We just decided to take a rest day. But like Nice is like a 10-minute train journey away from Monaco, and everything's so bloody well organised. Like there was a fucking train strike and we didn't even know it because
the only thing we had was that one security guard who was there letting people through like a certain amount of the time or whatever, and I got through, and then they stopped Jono, and I was like, I just let him through, he's only one person, just that. And your man was like, no, and I was like, just let him fucking through. So we had this argument, that they spoke French, we did, well, I mean, we spoke French in school.
It was like the extent of our French at that day was like, jambon? Oui? No? So, but nah, like Monaco was savage. Like the scouts are like doing like rolls and shit at the back of the stands. Like, it was the strangest thing because like when you think of Monaco, you think fucking decadence, over expensive shit. Like fuck's sake, like at Ballymun flat, it's like cost a fucking £1,000,000 there for Christ's sake. But like we were like just awestruck because like there's like a shitload of mom and pops like restaurants. Like me and him went in like in between like what was it, practice 3 and like quali. Like went in, had like a fucking 3-course meal and it was like 40 quid, and we're just like, what the fuck just happened there, lads? Did we just rob someone or did they give us the wrong bill? So because we'd been to Spa and we'd been to Monza, and like Spa like a waffle and a fucking like few chips with mayo buttered all over it was like about 15 quid, and you're going, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna go back to Monaco more often. Like, but it's one of those places that like we went to, what was it, Swimming Pool, Rascas and Anthony Noakes.
Yeah.
We were at Anthony Noakes for the Saturday, and like it's one of the craziest things to watch. It's just like you can hear everything coming, but you're like you never adjust to how quickly they're actually getting through there and like how precise everyone is. I think we saw like one car into the barriers there like over the weekend. Like there was a Sauber that like fucking crunched it. I think it was Della Rossa, or it might have been Kobayashi. But like it was just like absolutely incredible watching cars come through there. It didn't make a difference if it was feeder series or anything like that, cause like there was obviously it was still GP2 then, wasn't it? And the Renault 3.5 litre goes. But like the Renault 3.5 litres is like they fucking rape your ears every time they're like downshifting. You just had this horrible crunch and crackle. You were just expecting smoke to billow out. But like, the F1 cars were actually bearable. I think it's the only race that we ever went to that like we didn't need rear defenders or anything like that.
Yeah, cause they're just, it's 2012. Did you just go in 2012? When it was Shoei's last, pretty much.
The last pole, like, that was always the horrible thing about it. Like that would have been like. I'm still convinced to this day if what happened in Spain with Bruno didn't happen that day, like that he probably would have won that race. Like I think Webber went on to win it, like from Nico. It was like it was sort of dull because Webber tipped up on Facebook at like 18-1, so it's just like, that's gonna be some free points when they come home. But nah, like it was really like fucking mad racing. Like we were laughing our heads off because we're just looking over at the pit lane from the Rascas. Like, so you're seeing Will Smith and shit go through, and like you're seeing Schumi go down on this little scooter, just like fucking something you give like a 6-year-old. He's just like, there's the like most successful F1 driver in history, not a care in the world, big giddy head on him. And like obviously he was only a few months from like retiring for the second time at that stage.
Yeah, that's
like, it is mad to see. Like you like we're just laughing at Ted because like the whole like race, it was expected to rain, like it never quite came. It came just straight after the checkered flag. So like poor old Ted was just hidden there with his notebook and his microphone in between two garages trying to get Will Smith's attention. But, nah, it's one of those places that like, as a racing fan, like, it's well worth. And like we were like laughing our heads off for most of the weekend. There was a chat like the sector road shit, like up on the hill. Like it's pretty much a free for all. Like you basically pitch your seat, and like there's lads that are hanging off a cliff practically. Like they're like 50 feet above the ground, looking down over like the back end of the circuit, and like one chap had a microphone up there that terrorised Lewis Hamilton all fucking weekend. Every time he came out, it's just like absolutely abusing him. Like, chap had a big Alonso flag, so you can guess probably why he was targeting Hamilton.
This is where Donald's attention to detail comes in, lads. He has your man's name, what he was wearing, the aftershave he had on, fucking everything. So
I definitely was wearing Aramis or something like that. The pong of him, no one was able to sit near the fucker. But nah, it was like fucking brilliant crack. I think he even got a wave out of Bernie Ecclestone at one point. Like, he was just trying to get anyone's attention.
Jesus, lad, Jamie Enright must have had a couple of blue wickets there that we've seen the chat back in the ham.
Oh, Christ.
On the blue wicket tonight, God bless him.
Oh, he take the brave pills again, did he?
Look, he's gone anyway. Few special buttons there, but geez, that's some experience though. Like, I've never gone to one, and I'll say it was unreal.
For any F1 fan, it's definitely worth it. Like,
you asked earlier, Paddy, like where could this league go or something like that. I think that would be deadly if at some point this league gets to do a little kind of like a little fucking travel yoke where a lot of us get to go to Grand Prix, man. Something like that happening would be fucking tops, I think.
That's it, and fucking. That's what I'm planning for next year. Look, I'm planning for 2022 to have awards night where all of us probably be. I say if we all bring it'll be over 150 people. If they brought +1, and then have all the probably be 6 or 7 seasons. Then 6. I'll say about 7. Yeah, be done, and then obviously go to like a Spa race at the end of August, early September, with the league organised. But that's for all 2022. But as things are opening up, that will be deadly, and it'd be great to have used to there as well, like, because it's big.
Just imagine like 20, 30 or so even going over the Spa, like get the old Irish flag, you know, get the league streaming with millions of viewers looking at the Irish flag with League of Ireland F1 on it.
Imagine
Dan
Like, you seen an Irish flag on at Belgium there last week.
Yeah, boys, Dan will tell you, there's a savage Irish pub in the middle of Brussels. It's fucking absolutely cracking. Does the best soup Dan ever had in his life. And right beside it, right beside it is the oldest McDonald's in Europe, because there's a big placard that told us that. So me and Dan we had to pay some patronage there while we were there. But like, there's some cracking pubs in Brussels, as well as all the old chocolate if you're a sugar junkie like me fat self.
That's it. Fucking yeah, we'll do that. We'll arrange it, and obviously come to the end now. Just what you do in your daily life, for people want to know what you like doing, what your hobbies outside F1, and that's really it.
Man, I fucking wish I had time for hobbies these days. Fucking load of stuff going on at the moment. Fucking doing my own podcast. We're on Gogglebox now. Or fucking, it's just a load of stuff going on at the moment. So it's kind of taking up most of my time. It's good crack though. I'm enjoying it. You know, something different. Yeah, that's what I'm at.
Watch our podcast, Dan Joe, anyway, and get the lads to have a look in and out there watching, because there's people that tune in during the week and listen to at night. There'll be people.
Yeah, it's called What's the Story, or just WTS Pod. You'll get it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you can get a podcast, just put in WTS Pod. It's just myself and me mate Mero. We're going 6 years now. We're doing alright. Like, we've had some great guests on there in the past. We've had Christy Moore, we've had Jamie Heaslip, we've had Chael Sonnen, we've had fucking loads at this point. It's terrible to say I can't even remember half them, but like
George Foreman,
yeah, Dave McWilliams, Paul Howard. Like, we kind of just call anyone who has a decent story, we try and have a chat to and have a bit of crack with, and you know, it's completely unscripted. There's no research that goes into it, which is probably to our detriment, but yeah, if people want to give it a listen, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a chance to give it a little shout out on this as well.
Yeah, I'll put it on the old Instagram page as well. I'll put a link on it, on the links for, because now you're really putting a good help on your brother as well. What made you get into podcasting, Dan? What made you set it all up?
To be honest, like it's mad because now like everyone's doing a podcast or everyone's being involved in a podcast at some stage. Like, but back in the day, it was myself, Mero, and a third friend of ours, Lindsay Doyle, who was running a gym and everything at the time. And Lindsay's absolutely brilliant. And myself and Mero are working together. And I've done journalism in the past, and kind of I'm working in kind of corporate communications these days. Mero had done a little bit of media stuff before, and we're kind of sitting there and sort of saying to ourselves, like, we might as well do something that gives us something to do. That, you know, at the time Mero was training to go to the Paralympics, Lindsay was training she's a world champion kickboxer, and she was looking to see if she could get into the UFC, and I was just a couch potato who was like, right, two of my mates are doing mad stuff that's keeping them fit and healthy, I might as well get along. And originally it started out with this idea that it's Lindsay, who's an elite athlete, a world champion, Mero, who was training to be a para-athlete and a Paralympian, and then me as this just slob who likes spice bags, trying to keep up with them. And that's how it started originally. But then, like, within 3 or 4 episodes, it was nothing like that at all. It just ended up that we realised our story isn't that interesting. What's interesting is other people's stories and how we can have a chat with them and try to bring those stories out. So, yeah, I'd say that was 2015, and we're still going.
Jeez, fair play, Dan. That's some commitment.
Like, I've actually known about your podcast, like, because I went to school with Mero's younger brother, like.
Yeah, with Carl, yeah.
Yeah, with Carl and you know, a couple of boys from the back, like, you know. You shared it around, like, and seeing that you've gone over to, you know, to Vegas and all that stuff, and seeing the podcast being shared around. And
we've done episodes in Vegas. We've done a couple of live shows. We've got around with it, and you know, it seems to people keep coming back and listening to episodes somehow. So as long as they keep listening, we'll keep putting them out there, you know.
That's it, and geez, that's some podcasts as well, and I wish you all the best with it, Dan, as well.
Much, man, much appreciated.
And the goggle box, how did you manage to get on it?
I seen that tweet the other day. I was like, that's our goggle box.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I was taking the piss with that, and then the first episode that we're on went out last Wednesday, and people are like, "You're actually serious?" So myself and Mrs. Oksana, or Cubes, as most people know her as, we're the new family this season on it. That's what they're calling us. So it's good crack. Like, I mean, like a lot of people in lockdown, just watching more telly and everything else. So a few things came together, and they said we'd love to have you involved, and we said we'd love to be involved, and yeah, here we are a couple weeks later, and doing our bit, and hopefully people will enjoy it now as the series goes on, and as they watch it and they see my head in 4K and HD and all that kind of thing.
Ultra HD.
That's it. Yeah.
Definition.
No, it's good fun anyway. It's good crack.
How did you get over, like, on it? Did you have to apply for it? Was it?
Yeah. So there is an application process and everything else, and then I can't say too much. Because obviously the season's still going on, there's filming and all still going on. But there's a process. We were involved in that process, and then a couple other bits happened along the way, and they liked us, we liked them, so it all worked out.
And do you see it, like, will you be there for how long's the season with that?
So it's 10 episodes, and then there's 2 kind of best of episodes in at the end of the season. So yeah, I think fingers crossed we'll be involved in all of them.
Are you having a cup of tea in it, are you?
In this week's episode I might be having a cup of tea in it. So it's mad, like it's mad, like it's. it's like it's mad because you literally are. You're just watching telly, and like you kind of forget there's cameras in the room and everything, and you just you very quickly resort into what you're always like. You know what I mean? Like I was saying
I would say
and
that for me now.
Ah man, like this shit. Like I was saying things, and afterwards it's kind of like I fucking hope some of that doesn't go to air because I'll lose my job. Like so. Yeah, thankfully it seems relatively safe so far. But yeah, look, it's good fun. It's great to be involved in it. Delighted.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, Jesus. And what, did they just come out to your house? Is it in your house? Yeah.
Yeah. All the families that are involved. Yeah, like it's not fake. It's not. There's nothing scripted about it. It's
just reality, sort of.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think the beauty. I think one of the reasons the show was so popular is because everybody reacts when they're watching the telly. Do you know what I mean? We'll all be watching something and we'll all shout, fuck off at the news, or we'll be watching whatever series and we'll react to it. You know what I mean? So I think that's why people like it, because they kind of identify with what they're seeing. And I know it's mad, you're sitting on a couch watching people sitting on a couch, but I think there's a nice connection in that as well. You know? So.
Yeah. I'll get you. I'll put you on the stories at the LOY. Get Danjo's going to be the big boy now. He is going to be on the big books. He has big transfers and all next season. Keeping this lad in.
They're just hoping for the day the Wasp shows up when Dan's recording.
That Wasp, yeah, I hope it comes back.
Absolutely not, lads. No need to wish that ill upon me now, come on.
What would you do if the Wasp came buzzing around the room while you were watching it?
I have me little electric tennis racket here, so if Anton kicks off, there'll be 4 volts or whatever the fuck is in that thing going straight at them. Can't hack it, lads, I can't. I'd leave the room. Like, the Wasp come into the car before when I was on the M50, I pulled over and I got out of the car, like. Genuinely, I was like, no, I'm not doing this, not today.
Something like that on TV though, like, you know, it'd be like, you just go around the whole nation, like.
Oh man, I just can't hack it, like, I don't know, give me, like, I'd rather put a million spiders down me undercrackers than deal with one Wasp in the same room as me, like.
Fucking hell, I'm looking at Ben Ratcliffe here now. He's saying he goes, challenge is for him to sneak LOI into a conversation, make it happen, Slayer. And then Serious Mushrooms, LOI won't buy me Mercedes Benz, love that advert, does that count? But yeah, Jesus, so that's what you're doing, and fair play to you. And what time are you on during the week? Like, what's the days?
Yeah, so, I mean, the podcast, we're on a little bit of a break at the moment because we're both flat out, but the podcast usually comes out every Sunday. And then Gogglebox is on Virgin Media 1. I think it's Wednesdays at 9 o'clock.
Wednesday.
And it's on the Virgin Media player and all that. So.
Virgin Media players, that's the app. Yeah. That's perfect, alright, because there's 2 Murrays going live. And one is John O'Murray on Wednesday at 9, and then you have Danjo on the Gogglebox.
That's true, yeah. So watch Jono, and then after you watch Jono doing his thing in Tier 3, you can jump onto the Virgin Media player and watch Gogglebox. It's great entertainment there.
There you go, and that's it.
Sure, just like and share both of them, you'll be grand.
And you like and share. But, and then it's yourself, Jono, about, like, what was, obviously, what your brother is saying there, what do you...
Honestly, literally, life got turned upside down around 2 years ago with the arrival of little Miss Olivia May, so most of the time outside of the old working life or having a race or talking shit on the Discord or in a party, like, everything's all about that little one.
Yeah, and obviously, like, that's changed your life and obviously brought happiness into your life as well, and obviously
look, every day is a little adventure. Like, it's one of those things, like, Dan will tell you, like, I would have been one of those people that sit down, look, if I don't have kids, I don't have kids. Like, I don't think like, I would have said anyone that goes, oh, I changed their life, like, bollocks, stop talking fucking Hallmark cards, lads. Like, but like, genuinely, fucking, it's one of the maddest things. Like, Ben, not talking experience himself as well, they say he's probably in a similar boat, like, but it's just like it's surreal. Like one day you're just this little ball of like crying mess that like any chuckle out of them like it's fucking warm their heart. You know?
Yeah, like I was actually talking to my younger lad there yesterday. I was explaining to him, you know, like his head was in my palm at one stage, and his legs would just be down at my elbow, like.
Yeah.
And then like I'd be putting my hand up at his eyes, and then my elbow would be like at his belly button. And just explain to him like that's how small he was. Like he used to I used to be able to hold him in one hand. It was too big, like.
It's like she's 2 what, a week and a half or something like that. What they said. Yeah. Like, but like even like you look at pictures of them, and you're just there going, holy shit, like, that's a different person. Like we have a picture up in the kitchen, like a Dan holding her when she's like about 9 months old or something, and like he's just looking like he's ready to eat the kid because like we've left nothing in the fridge for him when he was minding her, and she's looking at like, what's this big lad? So there's not a care in the world. Like she's like now onto the old Mission Impossible phase where like she's taking herself out of the cot and climbing down the stairs and stuff. And you're just like, you little shitbag. But nah, that outside of like LOI and watching whatever the engines and wheels that's running that weekend, like, that's the big part of it. Like, trying to like, just fit everything in or find the time, especially like it's one of the I know everyone would say like, COVID's been shitty for everyone, but like, it's one of the actual blessings that the whole thing of the world being put on hold for a year. Like I've got to spend a lot more time with her than we ever would if it was the normal like Monday to Friday sort of thing, if you get what I mean. Like we got literally 6 months of not having a break from her. It's like every day was just like how it like at the phase where like she was running around and all. So like, that to me is like priceless.
That's it, and obviously it changed your life. Well, I haven't experienced that yet, but I agree with you.
Dan will tell you like fucking like he Jesus, I can't imagine John being at that. But like I would have been just like planning the next Vegas trip. That's pretty much what like all my year revolved around is like how many times can we get to Vegas, like go and see shit or just like enjoy it, like a fucking break. Because I'd no time for going to Spain or out, so like I'd always try and get over for a trip and watch some fights.
That's good, because you're a massive UFC fan, as well I know and a few lads know, and you go and see the fights as well. That's a big bonus as well.
Like when me and Dan went to Belgium like in 2010, like a few weeks later we went over for the Lesnar and Velasquez fight in California, and like now I said to you boys, we thought California savage. Like we ended up in this place in Anaheim that like we're basically in the middle of the fucking ghetto with 2 highways just beside us, and we're like going, yeah, I don't think we can leave this hotel much. Yeah, I've never seen 2 lads shitting it every time they stepped out the door as much as me and Dan were over there. Like we had to, like you know, like you look for a shopping centre or whatever, think get some cheap shreds. We walked into a place and we're going, right, fuck, we have to get out of here quick. They dropped us off at some fucking flea mall and we're just like, we're gonna get shot, murdered and fucking pillaged. So you just see the lads with the long socks and just like, for fuck's sake, why did we do this to ourselves? Why did we do this?
Jesus, it's an interesting anyway, but Jesus, we could talk for days and all about that and all as well, but
hey, this one's probably gone on longer than any of our other ones, man. We waffled the ears off everyone here.
Yeah, but that's good. That's why it's good to have 2 years on as well, and it's pity Colin would have loved to be in here with us as well, because I remember talking to him. But we'll always fucking reschedule another one, and obviously we'll talk about more of the outlife, like about obviously this season and all. By the end of this season we can get you on again, because it's the insight where from your minds and all watching it and racing as well is it's good to get that in, and obviously what you do in your daily lives as well is it's good. And I just want to say thank yous for coming on as well, and thank you for helping out the league as well for me, because I would be lost without yous as well.
No, appreciate you letting us be part of it. As I said, it's snowballed into something we didn't think it would be, and we love getting online and having a chat with you guys and having a bit of crack every week, and something really look forward to it. And the amount of work that goes into it from everyone involved is absolutely brilliant. And then got 80 people who are all mostly sound people in there that all want to have a bit of crack together. So,
am I one of them?
You're all right by me, man, but I'd say there's a few people who have you on the shit list.
Well, the chicken don't care.
That's it. Fair play, man, and thanks for having us on the podcast. I'd love to be part of that as well.
Then it almost makes you feel sorry for them, doesn't it?
Not really.
yeah. No, it's sound, lads. Anyway, I'll try get his on commentary or like podcasting during the week because Colin's still away, and we'll get one on Kachiga, and we'll obviously, with there's people watching there, and people are going to watch it during the week before they even go to bed, or when they're not doing anything, they have something playing in the background. It's good to hear from the lads and what they've got up in the morning watching the races in the early to mid 90s to late 90s, but we'll leave it there anyway. Thanks, lads.
Look, if anyone's really interested in that era, go and have a listen to Bring Back V10s. There's some fucking cracking stories, and it gives you a nice insight into F1 at that time.
Sorry about the V10s, bring the full electric power.
Sure, you won't hear anything.
About the chick kicks card, look, man, you're not here to be out.
Just remember, those electric cars put a chick Hicks into the tournament then. It's not all good. You just became a commentator then.
Oh, they put Lady McQueen in the retirement as well.
True that.
Right, lads, he can talk about cars, but I just realised the time and I'm up for work in the morning, so...
Yeah, we'll leave it there anyway. So we're gonna... I didn't want it that late, but we just tried to fit in and say everything as quick as planned. But we'll have somebody on during the week. Next week we'll have Kachiga, but I'm gonna try to get somebody on during the week. But I'll let them know on the announcements in the Discord. But leave it there. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Well, technically today for Tier 2 at 10 PM. So good night and God bless.